Jennifer Hudson might be pregnant with Common's baby. Did she reportedly turn him down when he tried to propose last year? Could that have led to their breakup? Well, if that's true, it makes Tiffany Haddish's latest shade even wilder, because she's the one people now believe blew the lid off of Jen's biggest secret. With Jennifer and Common choosing complete silence while fans whisper about a breakup and a baby on the way, the whole thing just looks messy. Especially when you remember Common's track record of being a too common dude who's been with half of Hollywood, but never sticks around long enough to prove he's serious. We've got to address all of that.
I was disappointed. I was very disappointed. I was like, oh, okay. Because that's not what you told me, but okay.
Well, Tiffany Haddish has just turned Jennifer Hudson's love life into a circus, and the internet swears she's let slip the one secret that Jen's been hiding from everyone, that she might be pregnant with Common's baby. Y'all, that claim's been flying around everywhere, and it's wild because Tiffany's shade has always carried a little extra weight, but whenever she's talked about Jennifer or Common, fans don't hear jokes, they hear receipts. Remember the time a fan asked Tiffany if she ever got the necklace that Common gave her to pass along? And she clapped back that she never did because he probably handed it straight to Jennifer Hudson instead. That little moment turned into a storm, with many convinced that Common was already creeping with Jen while he was still with Tiffany.
He might be the type of person that never really settles with somebody. Maybe he's like he's like a bee going from flower to flower to flower. I don't know.
But everybody knows that Common has an endless list of exes, and Tiffany has reserved a special kind of bitterness for Jennifer, which is why out of everyone watching this mess unfold, she's probably the one laughing the loudest right now. But y'all, back to these pregnancy whispers. Here's where the plot thickens. This isn't the first time that people have whispered that Jennifer might be expecting. Months ago, fans spotted that they thought that she had a baby bump during an Essence Christmas promo shoot. One outfit in particular, a black form-fitting dress, had people convinced, flooding the comments until the video mysteriously disappeared. As one outlet put it, some speculate that Essence took down other videos at her request, and that's all it took for the rumor mill to start churning. But even now, with Jennifer often rocking loose, flowy outfits on her talk show, the speculation just won't die down. Like the article explained, after 8 months, a baby bump that hasn't grown probably isn't a baby bump at all. Yet fans aren't letting go, and Tiffany's latest words only added more fuel. Sheesh, can a lady have a little food pause sometimes? God forbid she gain a little weight. But before we get into Tiffany's latest shade, let's not forget that she actually did date Common, and she wasn't just in it halfway. Tiffany was head over heels bragging about quarantining with him during the pandemic, showing him off on Instagram lives and even talking marriage. But instead of a ring, she got flowers on her birthday and excuses when he finally walked away. After it all ended, she admitted that he might be like a bee going from flower to flower, never settling down.
He might be the type of person that never really settles with somebody. Maybe he's like he's like a bee going from flower to flower to flower. I don't know.
But here's the thing, she wasn't lying. Common has been through half the women in Hollywood, and every single time he dipped the moment, things got serious. And let's just break it down. Back in the early 2000s, he was with Erykah Badu, his first real love. By his own words, he was devastated when it ended, claiming that it was Erykah who called it quits. She later hinted that he cheated, which tracks with everything we know now about him. Then came Serena Williams, Taraji P. Henson, Angela Rye, even Ava DuVernay. Top tier women, all of them baddies. He bagged them, smiled for the cameras, and then walked away. By the time Tiffany Haddish showed up, the pattern was already carved in stone. She gave her whole heart, went public, and even joked that she wanted him to propose with an apartment building instead of a ring. But instead of locking it down, Common pulled the same move. He blamed busy schedules and walked out, something Tiff later said wasn't the reason for their split.
Were you angry when you saw his answer?
I was disappointed. I was very disappointed. I was like, oh, okay. Because that's not what you told me, but okay.
Wait, well, what did he tell you?
You know what? That's between us.
And then came Jennifer Hudson, who was the latest in a long line of women who thought they could change him. And Jen really believed she might be different, parading him around, calling him that man of mine, while he went on podcasts calling her one of his greatest blessings. But the receipts don't lie. He's been with the baddest of Hollywood, and none of them lasted. That's why by the time Jennifer Hudson stepped in, fans had seen the movie 100 times before, so what made Jennifer think that she was special? She wasn't. She was just next. Which explains why Tiffany's shade cuts deeper, because she then mocked Jen. And it was not just bitterness, it was experience. She knows the pattern, she lived it, and this time her words don't feel like another salty clapback, and it definitely felt like she knew more than she was letting on. It's almost funny though, because even though Tiffany has been throwing her digs ever since they broke up, Common has always been on the other side of painting himself as the greatest boyfriend alive. Like literally on the surface, Common has always tried to sell himself as a woman's dream guy, because just last year he was glowing on a podcast, calling Jennifer Hudson one of my greatest blessings, and bragging about how they were equally yoked. He framed their romance like it was the mature love story he had been waiting for his whole life. To the outside world, it sounded like wedding bells were ringing, like he was ready to walk her down the aisle by the next morning. But for some reason, fans weren't buying it, and honestly, they had every reason to be skeptical. This is the same man who once called Erykah Badu his soulmate, gushed about Serena Williams being his rock, and Taraji P. Henson, please let me testify, as his dream woman, and bragged that Angela Rye, power to the people, pushed him to grow. Then came Tiffany Haddish, she ready, his so-called happy place, until he packed up his flowers and excuses. Every single woman in the lineup has been his pillar of strength at some point, which makes you wonder if they're all his dream girls, born to make him happy. Then maybe the real problem is that Common keeps waking up out of them dreams, and then becomes their nightmare. But let's really talk about that alleged defining moment on Common and Jennifer Hudson's rom-com relationship, because if things were already shaky, the proposal rumors just made it worse. Word on the street is that Common wanted to lock Jennifer down with a ring, but she wasn't ready to say yes. After everything she's been through, it made sense. Remember when Jennifer was once engaged to WWE star David Otunga for nearly a decade? Yes, y'all, she had a son with him, lived through unthinkable family tragedy, and then had to fight a messy custody battle where she accused David of aggression and manipulation. And that experience left scars, and it made her weary of rushing into marriage again. A friend of hers leaked to news sources that after her engagement went south, Jennifer was adamant she would never marry, and that it just isn't in the cards for her. So when Common came with this proposal, Jennifer allegedly pulled back. She knew his history with women, she knew her own history with failed commitments, and deep down she probably knew better than to gamble her peace on a man like Common. But here's the catch, Common's ego has always been front and center, and this is someone who uses every relationship to polish his perfect man image. To hear a no from Jennifer after parading her around as his biggest blessing definitely would have stung, and that sting is exactly why Tiffany's salty digs hit so hard. Because if Jennifer really did turn him down, Tiffany's laughter cut him deep, and while that proposal drama was still hanging in the air, the next big question came, why are Jennifer and Common so quiet about all this? So far, Jennifer Hudson and Common have chosen the same move, silence. No confirmation, no denial, not a single word on whether the pregnancy or breakup rumors are true. And in Hollywood, that kind of silence isn't random, it's strategy. The less they say, the more people talk, and the more people talk, the more valuable the story becomes. And silence builds hype, boosts ratings on Jen's talk show, and even leaves the door open for glossy magazine exclusives if she ever decides to tell her side of the story. But here's the problem. Silence might work for controlling a brand, but it doesn't work when someone like Tiffany Haddish is in the picture. Her shade is now being used as proof, and the internet isn't waiting for Jennifer's press release to decide what's real. And if Jennifer doesn't step in soon, the whispers won't just shape her relationship, they'll reshape her reputation. And this is where she risks losing control of her narrative. But on the flip side though, the internet did what it always does, took over the storyline. TikTok threads are full of side-by-side pictures of Jennifer in loose outfits, some swearing they see a bump, others rolling their eyes and calling it body shaming. And literally everyone and their grandmama is just clowning Common as the man who can't commit. Well, someone super pissed at him said, men like Common pretend they are awake, but are spiritually dead inside because they always go for the shiniest thing. And then to echo that comment, another person said, he's not emotionally connected to anyone but himself. And by now, it should be a known fact that he's addicted to the love bombing stage. #narcissist. However, the others decided to hold these ladies accountable themselves, wondering how many women he has to run through before everyone realizes the dude isn't about nothing. The other theory floating out there is that he's using Jen for clout, and none of his interviews did he ever say he loved her. Common says everything except that he loves her. Jen knows Common using her for clout, while the entire time Jennifer Hudson embarrassed herself publicizing the fact that she cared more for him. Either way, the conversation isn't about Jennifer's music or her talk show anymore. It's about Tiffany's jokes and Common's sad history. And as for Tiffany Haddish, someone said she should focus on her lame comedy career, while J. Hud needs to wake up and smell the coffee and find her happy place, cause Common just might not be it. Saying Common is just that, Common, cause it looks like Common be there for a little bit of time, not a long time, like one night only is all he had to share.